Hi, my name is Jose Echeverria. I'm a junior at Texas Tech. I'm a biochemistry student. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yep. I'm Nicholas, and I'm a computer science student. I am a junior as well, and I am a student at Texas Tech University.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas, for coming to Sports Talk with Jose. It's a pleasure to have you. And basically, what we are going to be discussing in this podcast is just like what is the cultural impact of sports here at Texas Tech? Sports are basically a very big area of campus life, and so we just want to see what students think about the whole situation with sports, especially football, basketball. Like, what do they think about going to the games, about the athletes themselves, etc. So the purpose of this, let's say, topic of this research, if you will, was that we wanted to see how often students went to any sporting event. What did they think of how this sporting event defines Texas Tech tradition, how it defines campus life? What did they think about the athletes? And also, how do they perceive it in general? Like, do they view it favorably? Do they view it disfavorably? If they feel invested into it, etc. And to do this, what I did was that I conducted a survey, and I conducted it to 10 people, all of whom have different majors. Some majors were in common, of course, not every single one. There weren't like 10 unique majors, but of all the school years, we had sophomores, freshmen, juniors, and seniors answering this survey, and we basically got like a variety of opinions. So what we can do is that we can just basically discuss the results of this investigation. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know Texas Tech to be very sports oriented, and we all know the students love their football, love their basketball. So
Yeah.
it's going to be really nice to dive deep into this, see all the responses you've gathered so far.
All
And
right.
yeah,
Okay. So here we go. So let me share my screen. Okay. Hopefully you can see what I am projecting.
I can. Yep.
Okay. So basically, these are like this is the survey itself, and this is basically like a summary of the responses that the survey gave. Everything looks right.
Yep, everything looks right.
Okay.
So,
So here
first question. Yep.
here we go. So the first question was, do you like going to sports events here at Texas Tech? And every single one of the people who responded to the survey, 100%, all of them said that they enjoy going to the sports. What do you think that is?
That right there does not surprise me in the slightest. Out of 10 students, all of them said yes, they enjoy going to sports events at Texas Tech. I mean, I myself very much so enjoy going to sports events. It's a very eventful thing for Texas Tech. You can tell that they pour a lot of of funding and their hearts and souls into this to give the students the best experience possible. Uh, and they love their student athletes,
Yeah,
absolutely. And Tech overall has a very welcoming environment for sports, and it's very enjoyable. It's a very enjoyable experience overall. So, no surprise whatsoever. And on top of that, the students that come to Texas Tech, they tend to be, like I said before, very sports oriented and really know the ins and outs of every sport that Texas Tech plays in. So, no surprise, like I keep on saying.
certainly, certainly. Okay, and so like if we look at this question, it is like, how many sports events have you attended this semester? So 70% of the students responded that they've attended to over five sports events. 20% have said that they've attended under five, and then 10% said that they've been between the 1 to 5 mark. So we can certainly see a wide variety of answer choices here, but overall, we've got students who've at least attempted one sports event, and I think that really says a lot about how much the sports events really gather the attention of the students. If we look now at like at the events listed here, we've got football with overwhelming popularity, and this is not surprising at all. Football at 90%, basketball at 60%, soccer and volleyball both tied with 10%, and then other options which weren't specified in this survey, 30%. So like we've got a variety of sports fans here, definitely. But now what I really want to draw your attention here, and I want you to explain to me why that is like how many people do you attend events with? And if you can see here we have the variety, right? 10% attend with only one person, 40% go with two people, and then 20% go with four more people, and 30% go with three. Like, what do you think gives this variety to the amount of people that come?
Well, this amount of variety, I would say, well, typically people go with possibly their roommate or roommates or mm, just as many friends as they can gather. So, I mean, that's where the four or more comes in. And the reason, also another thing is you can see 10% being mm, so only one other person. That's probably pretty small because sports events, a lot of students typically go to sports events with a group of friends, and it's more, uh, I guess, uncommon
Yeah,
for when that happens.
yeah,
But n- that is actually n- it is surprising to see because personally, I would think that four or more would be the majority vote.
the trend.
Maybe
Yeah,
if there was more responses, because like in personal experience, I look out into the crowd of people, the student section, and all that. There are so many people with
yeah,
their groups
yeah.
of friends lined up, and whenever it's the what is it, beginning of the third quarter for the football game, everyone's doing or fourth quarter, I
Fourth quarter.
forget, but
Yeah.
they're all always doing the swinging motion and all that. But um, this doesn't surprise me too much, but. Especially considering this year with um, football, like football being in the championships, going into the championships, and in the Big 12, and they are a powerhouse of a school of a university right now.
Yeah,
But yes,
yeah, definitely. And then I want to draw your attention to basically these basically this series of questions that we have here. So, like, if you look at this, do you go to the tailgates, pre-games, after parties, etc.? 60% say yes, 40% say no. I think that's just because, like, these are kind of like a part of student life also because it's also an opportunity for them to party before and after the game and to interact with other people, get to meet new people. So I think that's why many students sort of like value it. And then if we go through these, like you can see here the many answers here about whether TTU should invest more in sports or more in other areas. I think it's also like I think basically students are saying that like sports investment right now it's fine. Maybe they could invest a little bit more in academics, but overall, we see a very balanced perspective here. So I don't
Mhm.
think there's really any major complaints that should be done here. And now this is sort of like a taboo question to ask, but like, would TTU care this much for sports if it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes coming here? I think they definitely would still care, but I think that like the fact that Patrick Mahomes came here just adds a whole lot more of attention to Texas Tech. One of the most popular quarterbacks in recent years came to this university. Like that's just a brand of prestige at this point for the sports program. And then
Absolutely.
and then I want to get your opinion on this. Like what do you think of like the popularity of the athletes? Like I want you to tell me what do you personally think about their popularity?
The popularity of the athletes, well, I would say it's well deserved because the athletes, they bring a lot of attention to Texas Tech, and they bring a lot of attention to the sports played at Texas Tech, and especially football. and basketball right now, and and last year because last year Texas Tech was doing incredible at basketball, and I'm sure they're going to do incredible this year. And um, I think those student athletes deserve that popularity and they deserve that recognition. And this is their way of possibly going to the NFL or the NBA
Yeah,
and
definitely.
getting put into the spotlight. Absolutely.
Definitely, yeah. And then this is also another fun question because in the football games, it is a common sight to see people leaving earlier than the game is over. So then I wanted to throw this one in there. Like, why do people attend games? Is it for socializing? Is it because they actually enjoy the sport or because it's the school event? And I think most people chose both socializing and the enjoyment of the game. They might have also picked it's a school event. These options weren't mutually exclusive. But what do we see is that, like, yes, of course, people want to socialize, but they also enjoy the sport in general, you know. So I think that basically tells us that Texas Tech is in a good spot when it comes to like they have sports fans that they want to go watch the sport, but it's also people who, but they can also get the crowd that just wants to hang out and have a fun time during the weekend, you know.
Hmm.
And then
Absolutely.
finally, the last question that I asked these students was if they had the talent or the skill, would you become a student athlete and of which sport? And some of the most common responses were basketball. I got one volleyball response, a couple in tennis, and then a few that would say football. And then one person said that they wouldn't want to because it would be too much of a distraction from school. Like you personally, why would you say that basketball, even though most people attend football games, why was basketball a more popular choice than football?
Mm, well, basketball, it could also be due to the pacing of each sport because football is a longer game naturally,
Hmm.
and for some people it might not be their, I guess, cup of tea in that aspect where they they might enjoy watching the game, but imagine being put into the
Yeah,
field and you, these games can go on for hours on end,
yeah,
and
definitely.
basketball is over in a much shorter span of time. And yes, basketball is barely takes any breaks compared to football, but I guess in that aspect, that could also be incentivizing towards people, or it could make them think, um, mm, how much maybe how much they earn, how much recognition they get. It could be a whole bunch of variables going through everyone's minds when responding to this answer.
Yeah,
Um, and of course, basketball is a very big sport at Texas Tech. Football is also a very big sport. Um, and I would say if there were more responses, I would expect more of like a almost a balance between football and basketball eventually,
yeah,
just because of how popular they are, and especially at Texas Tech.
yeah, certainly. Yeah, well, that's good. We've gone through the responses, and well, I would just like to say thank you, Nick, for coming and joining us in this podcast. It was a pleasure to have you here, and
Thank,
goodbye.
thank you, Jose. Pleasure being here, and goodbye. Have a good one.